G'day all, it's Colin from PCTLC and thanks for joining me. In this video I'm going to be checking out once again for the last time MX21 Beta2, the installer once again. This time it's going to be on the XFCE again for the second time, but this is the Beta2 this time. Now I'm going to be doing a series of installs or just messing about with the installer basically, just see what it can do. There's a few things I missed out on the previous videos that I want to cover in this video. Didn't have much of a voice Friday or yesterday. Today's Sunday, so I thought I would do it today while I've still got a bit of a voice this afternoon. I've done a series of Charlie Chaplin videos and I'm going to be taking you through those without sound, and I'll do a bit of commentary on the video itself. So that's the best way I thought I could do this. So let's get stuck into that. Alright, so this is the installer on real hardware on the Lenovo IdeaPad 110, and just going through just checking the keyboard there. Let's have a look at the general instructions. On each page, please read the instructions, make your selections, and then click on next when you are ready to proceed. You'll be prompted for confirmation before any destructive actions are performed. So let's continue that. I had a look at the keyboard, I think. Keyboard settings. Takes you into another screen. You can change your keyboard there if you wish. Let's move forward. So in this screen here, you can choose a regular install using the entire disk. And with that slider there, which I haven't tested yet, you can customize the disk layout. And then you've got a series of things on the side here. Installation requires about 8 gig of space. 30 gig or more is preferred. If you're running Mac OS or Windows OS from Vista onwards, you may have to use that system software to set up partitions and boot manager before installing. Using the root home space slider, the drive can be divided into separate system root and user data home partitions using the slider. So we'll check that out. The root partition contains the operating system and applications. The home partition will contain the data of all users, such as their settings, files, documents, pictures, music, videos, etc. So if we have a look here, if we choose a regular install using the entire disk, we can use that slider. Move the slider to the right to increase the space for root. Move it to the left to increase space for home, as you can see there. And home, root's dropping down and home is rising up. And typically, if I was to have a home, you'd probably make the home the most space. Keeping the home directory in a separate partition improves the reliability of operating system upgrades. It also makes backing up and recovery easier. This can also improve overall performance by constraining the system files to a defined portion of the drive. Encryption is possible via LUKS. A password is required. A separate unencrypted boot partition is required. When encryption is used with auto install, the separate boot partition will be automatically created. So what we're going to do is customize the disk layout now that we've looked at that. So as you can see here, the SDB, there is the USB disk the live system is running from. Now there is SDA4, which is the home partition of the original MX Linux. That one there is the home partition of the MX Linux Beta1 that I installed. So what we're going to do here is I'm going to make 2 more partitions, although I didn't use them. That's what I'm going to do here, make 2 more partitions. Another root and another home. But I didn't use that. And what I do with this disk is I create a new root partition and a new home partition. I was going to install the MX Beta2 XFCE to that, but I changed my mind. I decided to reinstall over the top of the Beta 1 install. And the reason for that is because I had some items that I'd placed in the home partition under all the documents, downloads, music, pictures, and videos. I forgot to show that before I did the install, but they're definitely there, and I can show you after the install, because what we're going to do is preserve the home partition during install and check how the partition works. So I've created these two partitions here, but I didn't use them, so let's move forward on that. And then it's got, as you can see here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So they're all in order. There's a root and a home. So that's what we've got there. But what I decided to do was this time select the swap partition, which I don't think I did when I did the KDE version. So I didn't select the swap. This time I selected the swap. Right there. You can preserve swap. So that's the other option you got there is under the format you can choose to preserve. I think I chose to preserve that one. And then I was going to put it into there. And then I was going to do the home. And then I decided to flick them off. Let's have a look at that. I decided to just check them off and use SDA1, SDA3 and SDA4. So the current ESP is there, so it will pick up that ESP, so I don't have to do anything with that. And then you got your EXT4 there, so that's all good. Now I don't know what the defaults are. I just go with the defaults here. Pass is 1. I think it just how many checks it does, I think, on startup. I think that's what that's all about. And this one here, I choose that to be home. As you can, I don't know what I'm doing there. Choose home and preserve. So there you got the preserve the home. And then I just left all these default. And that's got 2 on there. I don't know why it's got 2. Maybe it needs 2 passes because it's preserving the home. I'm not sure exactly how the pass works. I'm not an expert on that. And that's all good. So there you can see we've got ESP. It already picked up the ESP straight away, so I didn't have to worry too much about that. And the swap, preserve, or actually just select it as swap, and it'll probably format it. So if you don't select preserve, it's going to be formatted. And the same with the ESP. So if your ESP is boot file maybe a bit full, you could probably just choose to not preserve it, and it can clear out the ESP if you want. It's the same distro, so it doesn't really matter for me, to be honest. And the most important one here is to preserve the home. So that's what I've done there. So let's move forward on that. And as you can see here, I missed this on the first one. SDA3 to be used for root. So that's going to be formatting that, I think. Root, yep, but EXT4. So there's no preserve there, so it's going to format it. And then the MX Linux installer will now perform the following actions. Reuse and no reformat SDA4 as /home. So it's not going to reformat it. And it's going to reuse no reformat SDA1 as EFI system partition, and reuse and no reformat SDA2 as the swap space. So there's no formatting going on there, only the SDA3, which is the root. Because you are installing over an existing operating system, you definitely want to format that so it's all cleared off, nice and clean for the next install. So let's move forward. And I just clicked yes on that one. So we'll just move forward there. And here I select the computer name. I'm going to call it MX21 Beta2 so I know which one it is. Click next. And choose my locale, Australian English. And Australia and Perth. Australia, Perth, and I always use 24-hour clock. And this one here, you can view server settings, which is this one here. you can choose to start or not start certain applications here. You got cron there and sudo. You can choose to turn those on and off before the install takes place. It's all good stuff there. Let's move forward. Username, all lowercase there, and password, and it'll go green when you do the password. It'll stay red until it matches, or pink. So it'll stay pink color before it matches. And then I didn't put a password in here, and not doing so means that you can type sudo in the terminal and have root privileges using sudo. You can choose to auto login and save live desktop changes, which I think I did in my previous video. And we can move forward on that. I think I did live desktop changes here. So let's just see what I've done here. I think I moved, I've installed Simple Screen Recorder. You can see it running up here. So I think I moved the panel. So I'm getting confused with which installs I've done. So the panel, it can either be on the left, or you can check that off and check this one on and put it at the bottom, which is what I've done, and apply that. I missed the apply button here. See this massive big apply button? I missed it. Close that, and I was wondering why didn't that change? Oh boy. So that's the bottom, and yes, click apply. Reaction videos, aren't they fun? And then I chose to save live desktop changes. And what that means is, because I've installed Simple Screen Recorder, I think it doesn't even matter if you choose save live desktop changes. Simple Screen Recorder, because I've installed it, I think it stays installed anyway. This just makes any changes, because you might have been messing around with it. Change it the way you like it to see if you like the desktop and it suits what you want to do, and you go, oh, I like that, and then you can save those changes, and then you don't have to worry about redoing all those once you boot into your fresh desktop. The existing home directory, what would you like to do with the old directory? On here I chose to reuse it for this installation. It should know that anyway, but it's asking again anyway, which I was a bit surprised. You can rename it and create a new directory, delete it and create a new directory. So there's a few, you can rename the directory, rename it, but I just chose to reuse it for this installation. And that's done. So we move forward and finish off the install, grub, blah, blah, blah. And that's the install complete. I don't know if there's anything else I needed to show there. Nope. Okay, then we can have a quick look booting this up. And there's the boot screen there. So advanced options there, but let's boot the system. There's a splash screen for MX Linux. Looks pretty nice. Put a little bit of effort into there. It looks really nice. Log in to the desktop. And there's our desktop. As you can see, the panel is at the bottom, and it's saved those changes. Don't know what I'm up to here. Oh, welcome screen. Yeah, there's a welcome screen. And there's my videos. So one of those videos, I'm trying to think which one was the one. MX21 Beta 3rd dual. Yeah, I was going to do a dual boot, but the third install, but I didn't do that. 21 post install, which is the video that I'm recording. No, actually no, that's beta. No, that's the first video. That's actually the video for MX Linux Beta1, that video there, and it's still there because I reserved the home partition. So that's there. So there's the downloads. That I just chucked a few things in from one of my hard drives on my home network under all the home folders to just make sure that that was all preserved. There's the music and music there, pictures, yep, and videos were seen. So yeah, that's preserved everything as expected. So that was that worked very well for the installer there. And then we can check out this video here. MX21 Beta 2, just thought I'd make sure that everyone could see that it's Beta 2, 800 megabytes there, and I'm recording. As you can see, simple screen recorder's running. So that looks like, I don't know, which one's the usage? So this one here, 213 meg, possibly. And the documents, yep, they're all there. So I put all those things in there before I installed over the top of MX21 Beta 1. So they were all put in there on the Beta 1, and now I've installed Beta 2 over the top of that. Reserved the home partition, and as you can see, everything is has been reserved in all those home folders. So that's all worked really well. So that's the one thing we wanted to make sure that the installer's working okay in those areas. I suppose you don't really want to have any failures in those areas, to be honest. Now I've done another install here. This is another install. Now this install here, I did a customized disk layout earlier, and as you can see, there's all the partitions that I had. What I'm going to do is wipe all them clear and do an install, a fresh install to the disk, and check out the slider. Going to do a regular install. I'm just going to check out everything that's written down the side there. I think I was checking out. So I think I was just trying to give myself time to chat with this stuff, but I can use my own mouse here. But yeah, that's the SDA3 now. It has got the MX21 Beta 2 XFCE. SDA6 has the MX Beta 2 KDE. That's the home partitioner for that. I never put anything on this one and this one. And there you got your swap there. So what I decided to do was a regular install and use the slider to adjust root and home. And it gives you a percentage there, which is quite nice. And I think I eventually made around about 80 gig, I think. 80 gigs more than enough for your Linux install and applications and so forth. And yeah, I forgot to mention, don't forget to check the disk that you're working with, just in case you've got a multiple amount of hard drives in the computer itself. This is one hard drive there, so I think I decided to start again. So what did I make it in the end? 60, 70, 83. Yep, that's good enough. 83 gigs. So you got 83 gigabytes for the root partition, which will have the all the system folders and files and so forth, and also where all the applications are installed and everything else in the home partition. That's why I make that so big, because that's where all your downloads and everything's going to be. So you need that to be the majority anyway. So let's continue that. Okay, to format the disk. Yep, so we go through the usual things here. Beta 2, full disk this time, and choose my language or my locale and my location, Australia, Perth. And I did 24-hour clock like I normally do there. And then my username, all lowercase, no gaps. Password, yep, as like before. I didn't choose any root password there, which means I have sudo privileges. And away we go. It's as simple as that. If you're installing to a whole disk, it's as simple as that. So let's move forward. And that's the install complete. So I have another video here of post install. So I just want to open up gparted to see what the using the slider and see how MX Linux has partitioned the disk. I just wanted to see that. And as we can see there, it's made a FAT32 boot EFI. Now I normally use 512 megabytes. This one's used around about 256, I'd have to think. Yep, 256. And it's got a 83 gig, which is what I selected on the slider there, root partition. It's created a 6 gig swap, and there's the home there of 376 gigs in space with a little bit of 31 megabytes of unallocated disk space. So that's how MX Linux has decided to slice up the pie on that disk there. Nothing much different to what I would do. The only difference is this one here, legacy boot. Now this is on ESP, but they've put a legacy boot on the root partition. Now I don't do that. Now I don't think Dolphin's watched any of my videos because I think he's pretty busy man at the moment. I hope he does get around to watching them, but I'm not sure why they put that legacy boot there. I'd be interested to know because I never do that. So even though we're booting in ESP, it's put a legacy boot under the root partition. Interesting. Not sure why. And as you can see there, under all the folders, I didn't preserve home or anything like that because I did a complete disk, a complete full disk install, which means that it wiped the whole disk clean, repartitioned the disk, which is what we looked at. And as you can see there, the home folders are empty. And that's how you do a full disk install. So that was MX21 Beta2 XFCE this time, doing a install over the top of an existing install, over the top of Beta2, over the top of Beta1, preserving the home folder, and then after that doing a complete full disk install, which is the most simple install you can get. And I like the way that they've actually given you a slider to easily adjust root and home. That's a really nice touch, that I must say. Installer's looking really nice, the MX Linux installer. It was always simple. I didn't think it could get any more simple, but I just like the changes they've made. It looks just given it that modern feel. The other one, as nice as it was, it probably looked dated. So this one looks a lot more, has a bit more of a modern touch, I'd have to think, is the best way to explain it. And I quite like it. It's quite nice. So that was the MX Linux 21 Beta installer. I think it's looking really good. So everything seems to be working pretty well. I think MX Linux is on track there with that. And I quite like it. It's quite good. I think it's a step up from the installer before. Not to say there was anything wrong with that. It's just given it that modern feel. So that is the end of my explorations on the MX21 installer. Hope you've watched the previous videos. I hope you liked this video. Hope you found it interesting and informative. And thanks for watching.